Welcome everyone. I have started the recording. This is the Pod Management and VOLTHA FCAPS Brigade for November 11th, 2019. We're still hoping we'll get some more people this morning. It is a holiday in some parts of the United States, so it's possible that some people may be absent due to the holiday. It's not an ONF holiday, so all of our ONF people are generally still here today. I have started the recording. This is a public meeting. Um, we will be making this recording available on our YouTube channel, so please only say things consistent with a public meeting. Let's get started with the reviewing current work. So Ashwarya, you're at the top of the list. I think you and I have talked over Slack. You're waiting on some things from Jason and also preparing a document. Anything more to say about that?
No, after I complete my documentation, I will update you about alarm implementation. And yes, I'm waiting for Jason's commit on OLT agent side.
So when do you'll be leaving for vacation before the
Next week.
next meeting?
Yes,
Okay, so you'll send me the document and I can either share it with the group or the person who's
yes,
filling in for you could share it.
right. Yeah, I will share that person detail who
Okay,
will be
great.
working, continuing with the work.
Yeah, and the person taking over, you can send me like an introductory email letting me know who that's going to be, and um,
Sure,
yeah, we'll coordinate. Yeah, thanks a
sure.
lot on that, and if we don't talk before then, have a nice vacation.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Next up would be Devmalya. He was absent today, but he has sent his status report to me via email. So what Devmalya was working on was event filtering. Um, so he does have some patch sets that are up for review. So I suggest anyone interested in those event filtering patch sets, we take a look and review those for him. I think he has gotten some comments on them and has addressed some of the comments. Um, and
Yeah,
and then
there are a few things which is not. There are a few things in the event filter design which are not clear. So I did ask him to clarify them, and I'm still waiting on them. I guess the last thing I saw was, it was my update. So
yeah, he said replied to questions, comments, and event filter document mostly from Delete. So he gave you one round of replies and then you replied to him, but you're waiting to hear back again.
correct.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look too at the things you've been asking about and see if I have any questions on that as well. Yeah, thanks for reviewing that document, Dilip. We appreciate the comments on that. Anything in particular you would like to discuss during this meeting about what you saw in the event filtering document?
No, I was just concerned that like the document review is going on and the implementation is also in parallel. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Well, we had a meeting. It wasn't last Thursday. It was the Thursday before last on the Volta call, where we talked it over amongst a bunch of Volta people. I think myself, David, Kent, Matt from AT&T. We walked through that document, and at the end of the meeting, we did all decide to go ahead with it. So I think you hadn't reviewed it at that time. So I think, yeah, I think he got the go ahead before your comments came in.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I will take a look at your comments and we want to make sure the implementation and the design are right. So let's make sure your comments are fully addressed before it gets too much further along.
Yeah, that's all I'm concerned.
Yeah. Any specific areas in the document you're concerned about? I could bring up the document now if we'd like to discuss as a group.
No, I think it's pretty clear from my questions. I'm sure like unless he is not here in the meeting, there is no point. I guess we'll leave it when he
Yeah,
comes back.
yeah. His email said he's away today and can't meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's implemented the protos and he's starting to work on the event agent. So yeah, I will take a closer look at that today as well. So let's see. Next up would be Dilip. So go ahead with your status.
I'm still, like my implementation is on the API is done, and we have this test routine which can test our API. So based on our internal discussion, I just wanted to go back to the test document for time being, right? Because this test document describes how we test all our APIs. So, the current plan is that we want to extend this test plan, like our, okay, we have a software code uh, which tests our API. Is like a small application. I'm sure everybody knows about this. So the plan is that how do we extend this unit test, um, uh, the image, if you could we call this this application which tests our API. We call this as a demo test, something like that, right? It's a generic like a binary which has a client with gRPC, and it has a CLI interface, so which can talk to the importer API. So this application will be extended so that it covers all the test cases which are listed in the document. Am I clear, Scott?
Yeah, I think so. So rather than doing all of this inside of that application, I think one of the ways that we've done it with other components, they integrated. So what they did is they would write a command line tool which would exercise the API, and then they would integrate that command line tool with Robot Framework. So Robot Framework could kind of script execution of the command line tool. For example, it would pass a command via a command line tool like VoltCTL or VOLTHA CLI, something like that, to enact some actions on the component, and then it would check back in some other way and see that those actions were taken. So that might be a pattern you want to look at. And instead of building all of that sort of high level logic into the component or into the command line interface, keep the command line interface relatively lean and script out these testing things in a higher level testing component like Robot Framework. And I could still pull together those examples for you from our Robot Framework.
Scott, we've discussed this one before with you. We are implementing this application so that we can serve our other customers who don't use the robot framework. So we will implement the functionality in this test application. If need be, and I assume that the need is be, we'll do the robot framework integration as well. But we are going to do the enhancement to the existing application so that we can do the testing with and without the robot framework.
Okay, sure. I'm just making a note of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the current plan would be to just have this dedicated app application so that it tests all the test cases which are in the document. So that way, we are sure that the APIs are robustly tested.
Sure. So the application will walk through each test one by one and execute it within the scope of the application?
Correct. Still, this is not an automation test one. This is more like a manual test.
Okay, so you'll have a document that describes how someone would execute. Basically, you already have this document describes the tests. Would you expand that to say these are the commands you would type to execute each one of these test cases?
Sure. Yeah. Definitely, we will have
No,
that
no, no,
as
no,
a.
no, 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 Dilip. Scott, as with the previous cases that we've implemented, the application is a self-contained application. So if somebody runs the application, it goes and exercises the functionality. So there is no additional manual steps that people need to go through.
Okay, great.
Uh,
Yeah, that was my question. It was sounding like someone would have to manually do this, but this will all be automatable.
Fully.
You'll be able to run the binary and it will execute all
Right.
of the tests in the test plan.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we don't expect anybody to come and learn about the API's intricacies and see if it should be run this way or that way. It should be fully automated, never manual, never manual.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's one of the things I think we would like to do is to make sure that there is a way to, for example, with our Jenkins implementation, be able to execute all of this automatically as part of
Right.
acceptance testing. So it sounds like
Right.
what Dilip is producing will be able to do that.
Right. At the end of the day, I mean, obviously you can get the logs and see what the output is, but it should give you, I've run these test cases, it passed, failed, it should be fully automated, no manual and interaction.
Sure. Well, that sounds great. Thanks for the update on that, Dilip and Taskin. Dilip, you said did you have questions that you wanted answers to, or is this
No,
sufficient?
this was more like a statement.
Okay, great. So anything more, Dilip?
No, nothing other than that.
Okay. Next up will be Dinesh. So Dinesh, I see we've had some progress on the getting the API implemented. How's that going?
Yeah, so I implemented, I modified some of the current APIs and added 2 more APIs. So I have resolved those Jira, and now whatever you suggest, I'll take a look at it.
Sure. I see there in the story. Let's see. I've still got this stuff shared here. I think it's on screen. Let me go down to where is implement the API? Did you close it out this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was looking at it this morning. There were still some issues in there that were listed as in progress for Maddie in that API story. So
Yeah.
So you've closed all of those out and closed out the master Jira story for implementing the API.
No. Those are some Jiras are in the progress, so I just resolved the one I had added the code.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking for the story here. Let's see. API document. Well, these are resolved ones. I know I was just looking at it. Maybe it just flipped from not in progress. Anyway, I'll look that up later. But so there it is, right there. Yeah, so there are 1, 2, 3 that are still to do for 1 to do and 2 in progress for Maddie. We don't have Maddie here with us, but your understanding is Maddie is actively working on those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. And then as soon as those are done, we can close these out. But you are looking for the next thing for you to start working on within device management and Redfish.
Yeah, I see that you filed 2 Jiras and assigned them to me. So
yeah, so those would be excellent candidates. So one of these, the first one here is some new makefile targets. If you look at some of our other makefiles for other components in Volta, there will be targets for there's make help, which lists all of the targets, but there's other targets for things like lint. And then there's several different kinds of linting that it will do. SCA is static code analysis. and test is to run unit test. So
Right now,
yeah, so
right now there are no unit tests.
right. Yeah, I was going to mention that's separate. That would be separate from the testing that Dilip is doing. Dilip is doing functional and end-to-end testing. Unit tests, if we decided to write them, that is what would go under make test. But if you wanted to look at doing the linting and the SCA, I think that would be useful to add those targets, as well as the help.
Sure.
And I can point you, if you would like, I can point you to some of the other make files in Volta and other parts of the software where those targets are implemented.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you on Slack.
Yeah, they will probably, every time we've enabled these for a project, they will find issues with code that you'll have to go fix. Things the linter didn't like, or things the SCA didn't like. So you'll, as part of implementing this, you would probably end up with a few things to fix. Most of them are relatively minor and superficial things. But if you do run into anything that you need help with, let me know on that. So yeah, I think
Sure.
this would be an excellent issue for you to grab. Just to take a look at the
Okay.
other. Go ahead, Dinesh.
No, I said okay.
Okay, yeah. The other one would be to switch to using the Go mod tool for dependency management. That's something we have kind of implemented across the board with other components. It's a tool where you list all of the various libraries that your software uses, and it will automatically import them and version them. I think in one of your make files you had something that called go get or something similar. This would replace that. So again, that's
Okay.
something where I could point you in the direction of existing components we've converted to Go mod, and I also listed a tutorial that I followed when I used that to learn how to use Go mod.
Yeah, because sometime back I have seen mails where we changed all modules to Go mod.
Yeah, we were using something called DEP before, and we've moved everything over to Go mod because Go mod appears to be the more supported and more forward-looking way of doing versioning and dependencies in Golang.
Sure.
But yeah, if the first story ended up finished up real quick, you could grab the second story there. But it's unclear how long the first one's going to take. I would hope not more than a
Yeah,
week, but yeah, we'll
I
see.
haven't done this before, so I might need some time to figure out what exactly I need to do.
Yeah, and of course I'll be there to help if you have any questions.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure. Thank you.
we'll plan on you grabbing CBA 880 to start with, and then let me know how that goes.
Sure.
Let's see who is next. Next would be Divya. We don't have Divya on the call. Let me see if I've got. Um, last I checked, last I heard from Divya had submitted a patch, was working through it. Kent had supplied some comments. Yeah, I think that was perhaps finishing up some probing work. I will talk to Divya during the week and get a status report for what Divya's been working on. I see we do not have Ganesh or Onkar from Stairlight on the call. I will touch base with them and see what they are up to. Perhaps they had the day off. Last person would be Rohan, and I heard back from Rohan this morning, and Rohan is finishing up the probing work that he was doing on open ONU probes. That story was in progress when we removed it from the brigade, and he's just finishing up the remaining work before grabbing something new. So I think that we have worked through everyone. Let me see if there's any open JIRA issues. We still do have a lot of stuff that are listed as in progress that it would be nice to get to the bottom of. Dinesh, I think, you still do have this one open, integration, because you're still working with Ganesh on that testing of importer. Is this something that Dilip has fully taken over, this testing of importer? That's part of your test plan, Dilip?
No, I think the way it has been done is, as APIs are implemented, so those engineers will will manually implement how to test that API and add that into this testing application. So it's kind of an like a team effort.
Okay, so kind of an ongoing process amongst everyone who's
Correct.
working on the importer.
Yes. It's kind of, it keeps on. I mean, this doesn't look to be closed anytime soon,
Sure. Let's see. These are Ankar and Ganesh's. They're not here. We have 3 issues that have been in progress from Jason for a while. Does anyone know if Jason is still actively working on these?
No, we'll close these. Send me the Jira numbers. We'll close these.
Okay, yeah, I'll send those to you, Taskin. I'll send. Okay, great. Yeah, it helps if we can close up some of the outstanding stories. So yeah, this one, Dilip, we've talked about that. We've talked about Dinesh's. This one here was on optical data. Let me, I'll coordinate that one. See if that one is still ongoing. Devmalya's, I've asked him to update his documentation story and then create or find a new story for implementation. So I'll talk to him about updating that one. Well, I think that's it for Jira review. We don't have anything for Ashwarya in progress yet, but I think that's in part due to waiting on those changes that you needed, Ashwarya, before you can really dive into work on the alarms. Is that right? You don't have any story here that you'd like set in progress at this time?
No, yes, that's true.
Okay. Well, I think that covers. Yeah, I think that'll get us some of these stories cleaned up. That'll be good. Is there anything else anyone would like to talk about this morning? Any open issues?
Hi guys, here is Silvio Favaro from Furukawa. I tried to compile the Redfish package to ONL 400, and I'm facing some issues with the Redfish server in the agent, probably related to OpenSSL. I would like to confirm if you guys using the newest ONL?
I think the one we were using yesterday, the version number, I'm trying to remember, but I think it's one of the latest versions. Are you talking about the mainline or? Yeah,
I'm following the GitHub page that Edcore supports. I'm talking about the Redfish agent, right? I'm not sure if is there anyone from Edcore in the meeting.
I am from Edcore. We are from Edcore.
Okay. So I followed the GitHub page. I had some issues with the unit test that I could fix, but in the end of the package generation, I got some error on GNU TLS library.
No, there's nothing wrong. I think there's a version there.
So, Taskin, just to confirm, so did you use 16.04 Ubuntu for compiling?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. If someone can just advise if the procedure that is in the GitHub page is working fine. Maybe I have something wrong in my environment.
I think his question was, what is your build environment? Are you using Ubuntu 16.04?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, then yeah, it should have worked.
All right.
And the instructions
are
updated on GitHub page, right?
Yeah, that's the page we follow. I'm using desktop Ubuntu. Not sure if you guys are using the Ubuntu server or.
We are using client 16.04. We are using client 16.04. Actually, not all the VOLTHA binaries are. All the VOLTHA builds require 16.04. Start with a clean 16.04 and see what happens. But the instructions work, and I know it works because I was in a meeting with the Turkish Telecom last night, and they have tried it and it works.
All right. Okay, I will double check my environment and make sure that I have all the dependencies installed there.
Perfect. If not, just drop us an email or VOLTHA general what do you call mail distribution. We'll respond. One of us will respond.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other topics anyone would like to bring up today? Okay, if not, then we will conclude the meeting. Thank you everyone for attending, and we'll talk to you everyone again on next Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.